right here, right now, on the Remix Morning Show on Black Power Media. We are here. I go by the name of the and your host for the day. You got Kalonji Changa, you got Kamal Franklin, and you got Tierney Cherie. Let's go.
Yes, y'all into the what's happening? How y'all feeling?
Good. How's everybody doing?
Good. Not bad at all.
All right, yeah, it's better.
All right,
Okay.
we're straight now.
We're live on Arrival. Everybody looks asleep on the Remix Morning Show. Some of y'all didn't want to get out of bed this morning. I presume. I'm just saying. Am I the only one around here?
How was that ride to school, y'all?
It wasn't bad today. It wasn't bad. You know what I'm saying? I just made them walk halfway just to make sure I got here on time.
It's good exercise.
The light was red. I was like, yo, get out now. Get out.
Mine was red. I was happy that I actually got out on time because usually, like I said, I'm going to get out by 7:30 and it ends up being 7:45. So I already feel like I accomplished my big thing for today.
So they're going to be telling stories 20 years from now. I remember we used to have to walk from the car to the school door. It's hard.
Character.
Right?
Character.
You know what I mean?
Teaching character.
We had to leave the house to go to school.
Basically, ain't that what it basically it is? That's the complaint.
That's true.
Somebody had the nerve to wake me up. Except on Saturday and Sunday, of course, but they'll get their asses up because they want to watch some TV, some cartoons.
That's right.
Anybody got to wake them up then?
Wait a minute, do y'all have a whole regimen that you got to clean the house on Saturdays? Or y'all spoil y'all kids, never mind.
Yeah, no, we're a little, yeah. But we don't let them watch TV and stuff on the weekdays. So Saturdays are like special. Saturday and Sundays, they get to watch little cartoons.
Come out, clean the house. What do you think Chauncey's for?
Exactly.
I'm Chauncey B, so, I'm not sure, you know what I'm saying?
Welcome to the Remix Morning Show, where it is your favorite. If it's your first time coming, it's still your favorite morning show on the planet. You just didn't know yet. You got a late pass, but it's about to go down today. It's real hard out here. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot going on, and we're going to tell it the way we see it. You know what I'm saying? And, it's going to be a beautiful day somehow, some way.
Hey, yo, before I get out of here, I want to give a quick shout out to one of our new members right here.
Is your comrade from where?
WCC.
Shout out to WCC and
what's his name, Tierney? We don't want to mess that up.
Brother Ikemba. He's one of the co-hosts on our podcast that comes on Saturday morning. So
no doubt.
Nice.
Yes. Here, Doctor, talking about we don't want to mess his name up. Hold on, we French. What's going on here, man?
How was your weekend, Kalaji? How was your week? What you do?
Man, it was hard out here, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm going through some things. But it was all right, man. It's, you know what I'm saying? We floating on it. We making it happen regardless. You know what I'm saying? You gotta do that 2-step. Sometimes you gotta step back, get some water on your face, shake it off, and come back swinging. You know what I mean? So that's where we at, man. How about yours? You was all right?
I did pretty, it was another kids weekend. Every weekend is kids weekend, exactly. So I got, I got to live my life through like somebody else. I got to pick somebody every now and then to hear about their adventures in life and be like, wow.
I think we should pick Tierney because Tierney always like on a world tour somewhere. Tierney, where was you at? I heard Tierney was out on the continent in Burkina Faso, helping to get some things straight. What's going on out there? What's happening?
I was not there, but some crazy stuff going on there. I don't know if we're gonna talk about it later, but yeah, there's a coup that happened, and the third one for the ECOWAS, poor colonialists. Regional body has to deal with another coup, so I guess we can talk about that.
No doubt. There was a shooting out here yesterday. One of the comrades who's on the fire department here hit me up talking about this 6-month-old child was shot in a drive-by here in Atlanta yesterday. And I hate to start the morning off like that, but that really bothers me because of the fact that it's a lot of violence going on out here and gunplay and misuse of aggression, for lack of better words. So it's a lot of innocent folks that are getting getting shot around the country. So one of the things that we're looking to sit down with a number of organizations as far as FTP movement because of the fact that so often we are reporting what's going on, but we need to really get out there old school and speak to some of these folks, because of the fact that folks have to understand that you are an enemy to our people when you're out there on the wrong side of the barricades. You just can't be shooting at cats randomly. That's the job of the state. That's what the police do. You know what I'm saying? So you got to decide what side of the barricades you're going to be on. So, definitely, our heart goes out, to the mother and father of the young child who was murdered yesterday in the city of Atlanta. So, yeah. Anyway. Yeah, man. So that's crazy. But yeah, we got a lot going on, as I mentioned.
We got some guests coming on today.
We had that. Isn't that a good thing, man? Sometimes we need guests. Matter of fact, we got some comrades who are part of Black Power Media that's coming on.
That's right. Gonna come on and talk about their new show. Yes. I'm sure people have been checking out.
Yes.
I might be a little mysterious about it, but I'm sure people have already been checking it out. But they're gonna step it up. They're going to add some things and elements to it, and we just want to do like an introduction to the larger BPM family to let those folks tell you what they do, why they do it, and what they got offered for you.
Absolutely. So it's going to be funky. As Tierney mentioned earlier, we're going to definitely have to. We can't be a Black Power Media and not mention Burkina Faso. So we definitely got to talk about what's going on there. And so many other things that have happened over the past week. I know there's a situation out in Bridgeport, Connecticut, where I'm from. There's a sister that was found dead about a month and some change ago. Lauren Smith Fields. We're going to talk about her and how they've been trying to cover that particular situation up. 23-year-old out there. We're going to talk about Cedric Lofton. You know what I'm saying? The brother who the Kansas DA cited a stand your ground law against and said there'd be no charges because of the fact that him being a juvenile being held, he was resisting. So now they came with the whole stand your ground law. So they don't want to be held responsible for your death if you are resisting arrest or whatever the situation is, or you being detained. So it's a whole lot going on here in these wonderful states of oppression. You know what I'm saying? So, stay tuned, man. What else is going on, man? I mean, you guys looking like y'all coffee good.
Tea.
Oh, tea, excuse me.
Jenny, how old is your little one now?
He is 2.5. He's getting so big. Yeah, nearing 3. I'm kind of scared.
Wow. Has he started the terrible twos? Is he going around smacking shit down? Or?
It really goes off and on. Like one week I feel like, oh, he's not that bad. The next week it's like, oh my gosh.
That's when he started knocking shit down. What? No Grey Poupon?
He's not too much knocking stuff down. Oh my gosh, my light. He's not too much locking stuff down. He's more like just going off, fussing. The whining I can't stand. Oh my gosh, just tell me what you want. I don't need you to. But it goes off and on.
they go into that into adulthood, so I don't worry about that. We doing that shit at 20. Like,
I'm not sure if that's gonna stop. Word, you mama. I'm not sure.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I'm not fortunate. Thank you.
You look at me like
nothing to look forward to. Nothing to look forward to.
That's what I hear. It's like you think, when they're really young, like, okay, like he's an infant now, so I can't wait till he can take care of himself. But then there's like a whole nother set of problems that come with that.
Yeah, he's gonna be 3. You're gonna be like, get it together. You almost 3. You know what I'm saying?
I do feel like I do that sometimes with the kids. Like mine is like, I know, Kalani, you've gone through all this already, but mine is 9 and 5. And sometimes I it's kind of like, why don't y'all get it together? And I'm like, oh, they're 9. Okay, they have it right. But every now and then, just like, it's just like someone pulling on you or doing something. You're like, but the love is always there.
Hey, always. Man, gotta love it, man. Beautiful life. Anyway, man. Yes, so shout out to all the Patreon members. We just reminded that checked out our top 3 books edition. How did y'all like that? I know some of y'all checked it out or whatever. We definitely need some feedback. We will be hitting you all with new Patreon material regularly because of the fact that we heard y'all knew we was dope. So we didn't want to. You know what I'm saying? Leave y'all out.
Just let y'all know. So we above our plateau of 225. So far, we are over that. The month is coming up to an end. February's coming. Okay. Credit cards are going to be run soon. Debit cards going to be run soon. Checking accounts going to be run soon. All I'm saying is, let's not dip. Let's not do a dip. Let's motivate.
Pastor Kamal has spoken. Y'all know what it is. And also, we're going on our 1-year anniversary. So definitely February 17th, UEP Newton Day.
You got the cops outside, Tyranny? What's going on with you? What's going on?
It is flashing.
It was like a siren.
My light's been going off. I guess my bad. I'm sorry.
Let me find out you got the cops outside.
Tinny in Ghana is late. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly. Lights off time.
Yes. But definitely check us out. If you have any suggestions, what you would like to see, what were some of your greatest moments in during our first year, please let us know. I think it'd be dope too if you all send in some testimonies, video testimonies. You know what I'm saying? Post on your IG. Matter of fact, I think we should give out gifts. I don't want to sound like Umar Johnson. Gifts. But I think we should give some things out for those supporters who post a 30 to 60-second video on your YouTube or not YouTube, or it could be YouTube, your IG, Twitter, whatever, and tell us like what you like about Black Power Media and what would you like to see coming from us.
What's going to be the gift? What gift you giving out? Because I'm not mailing nothing.
We ain't mailing nothing, man.
I'm not mailing nothing.
That's the hard part.
You get a personalized thank you.
When you got mail like 15 T-shirts, you got to go to the post office. You got right. I
did it once. I'm like, oh, never again.
When I was in my 20s, I can handle that. That could be like, that was my work assignment. Like, get this to the mailbox, mail these things off, whatever. I can't.
And you were happy then, but now it's like, come on, man.
Yeah, exactly. Because you were a happier person.
Yeah. And then if you got the post office in the hood, they ain't got shit. They ain't got no stamps. They don't have no delivery people. They don't have no mailbox. They mad that you came. Don't ask them too many questions. They give you the website. Like, you standing right here, you customer service. Just go to the website. Like, damn, retire, your old ass. You've been here for 5 years already. But anyway, we'll think of something. You know what I'm saying? We'll give y'all some shout outs, some thank yous and all that. Somebody said, can they get 2 T-shirts for that promo? That's going to be a hell of a promo. You must going to get a whole lot of people. If you get 2 T-shirts for a promo you doing, DJ B Love, that means that you about to put in some serious work. I'm talking about we about to have like 20,000 subscribers tomorrow, and we're going to send you 4 T-shirts. That's right. I said 4. And we'll have Kamal go to the mailbox personally himself to the post office.
You ain't getting those, B.
It's not happening. But she might send a picture of it. Anyway, what else is we got the Air Doctor coming up, man. This young man right here, he's been out.
He's on the I was gonna say he's on the moon, but he's on the moon, orbiting the Earth though. That's all.
Yeah, that's serious too. He look like okay. Look at him. Okay,
I'm floating. I'm checking out this world, looking at all these humans down here doing their thing.
That's good. Where you
There's
from?
Some crazy ones. But
he's in the Ozarks.
Hey man, listen, I was binge watching Ozark this weekend. Man,
I did too.
Hey, ain't nothing like white people in. You know what I mean?
Yes.
I mean, you talk about
white people commit crime. Never go to jail.
You talking about capitalism, politics, colonizing everything, all in one show.
It's a wonderful thing. Sounds American.
Oh yeah. It's the American dream. Anyway, let me go ahead and I'm gonna give you all the weather report. So stick around and let's get to it. You know how
let's do it.
Let's get it popping.
Yeah. What's good, everybody? Welcome out once again to the Remix Morning Show. I go by the name of the Air Doctor, and right here, right now, I would love if y'all would go ahead and hit that like button. Subscribe if you are not already subscribed, and go ahead and hit that notification button so you can know when the new shows and the new things are dropping for you and yours. So with that said, it's time for the weather report. Well, I like to give y'all the high of what's going on all around the country and all around the world. So let's start off first with Atlantic City, New Jersey. Big up to Minister Server, the one person I know from Atlantic City, New Jersey. High today in Atlantic City is 44 degrees. So wrap it up. It's a little cold. All right, next, let's take it down to Biloxi, Mississippi. That's right. They got a high today of 52 degrees. 52 degrees down south. It's all right. Not too cold, not too hot. Next, let's take it over to Window Rock, Arizona. Have you ever been there or ever wanted to go to Window Rock? I doubt it. But the high today is 48 degrees, so big up to Window Rock. Next, let's take it over to St. Bart's. Ooh, I got to get down there. I got to go check out, see what St. Bart's look like. I ain't been down there yet, but they got a high today at 81, and that's one of the reasons I want to get down there, get on that beach, get a little bit of tan, you know. Next, let's take it over to Oran, Algeria, who has a high today of 60 degrees. That ain't too hot for Africa. I'm just saying. Next, let's take it over to, what is this? Konya, Turkey. That's right, Konya, Turkey. If you've never been there, me neither. They got a high today of 19 degrees. Now, that is cold. That's about as cold as a white man, but not just your regular white man. We are talking about no other than Robert Oppenheimer. That's right. This guy right here, he looks like he would be the evil villain in a Bond movie. He definitely looks like that. He is actually one of the people that put together in the Manhattan Project, director of the laboratory responsible for the design of the atomic bomb. He is often known as the father of the atomic bomb. That's right. Now, that's a cold white man. I'm talking about a bomb that went to Hiroshima and killed like 80,000 people. Man, this dude, he's cold. And that's your weather report for today. Now, let's get to it. Now we do. Yeah. All right.
He did look like a Bond villain,
right.
B. Yeah.
Yo.
And to my knowledge, I don't think he ever expressed regret for the creating the nuclear bomb and what it was used for. You know, it's like a nuclear, So I concur with that. But I was going to also tell you real quick, you need to just stick to the East Coast of the United States because your pronunciations of everything else are just little.
Window Rock, Arizona.
I just think you need to stick to like the tri-state area of like New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, and because you get those names good. Those cities, you got them cities now. I think you out maybe hood, so you know that spots.
Hey, I think you should stick to letting your wife pick your clothes out.
Oh,
look at that face! Look at that face! And then you go
slid off. Slid off. You mentioned
Tyranny. Don't laugh at that. That's not funny. These are good.
One thing you just mentioned about the whole atomic bomb. I went to a restaurant recently, right? And I usually don't do foods outside of the corridor.
I just want to know how you're going to tie in the atomic bomb.
No. Because
I just want to stop. I'm going to let you go.
I got it this time.
I'm going to hit this tie-in.
You be proud.
The atomic bomb.
So check it.
Restaurant eating.
Yes.
Go.
So I go to this restaurant, right? It's a Japanese restaurant, and they have on the menu the sushi was atomic bomb. So I was confused. I actually asked the lady, I said, excuse me, what type of, I already know what it is, but I'm just, you're not that much of a capitalist. You Japanese and you're gonna call your shit the atomic bomb. I mean, to me, the atomic bomb murdered over 300,000 people. You know what I mean? So I asked him, I said, where's this food from? She said, Japan, Japanese. I said, oh, okay, cool. And I just left it alone, but it was like, I'm like, okay, this is why I don't eat certain foods, because you motherfuckers don't care. You really don't care when you're gonna say that that's like us naming a meal the slave plate or some shit, or naming it African genocide. I mean, that's some serious shit.
Let me defend the Japanese a little bit. Don't act like that's not possible. Don't act like that's not possible. You seen the name of some stores, the black folks that had to take down some signs,
I have.
So let's not act like that ain't. Everybody's capable of slipping into the capitalist mode and not
300. Hey, listen, 300-some thousand people exterminated, plus land, the whole nine.
I agree.
And you come to America and come to the United States.
The crazy thing to me is that all those people murdered by the worst weapon catastrophe in history, and U.S. bases all up and through Japan. Just
Right.
people, they've been conditioned to just deal with it. I mean, I'm sure you all are paying attention to all this stuff going on with Ukraine, and now they're talking about a military alliance with the U.S., Japan, I think like Australia and some other like white supremacist country. I'm like, really? Like, y'all gonna be alliance with these people? Okay, whatever.
Yeah, but I mean, just like you said, to me, it's like, man, you're like right in the heart of the empire. And these are the motherfuckers that bombed you. If I was them, now on the flip side, if I have a dish called the atomic bomb and I have a Japanese restaurant, man, every American that ate it would have had a problem. That's just all I'm gonna say. You know what I'm saying? That's what I would say. But anyway, it's time to I was about to say flip the script. It's time to slap the map. You get in trouble over there. What's happening, party people? Welcome back to the Remix Morning Show. Everybody was looking stuck. I know my mic was stuck, so I had to play it off real quick. I'm like, it's pressing and it ain't really popping too well, but I'm good right now. Anyway, Tyranny, African Esquire. Yeah. Tell us what's going on the continent, please.
Yes, I'm sure all of you, if you haven't heard, you should have heard by now that there was a coup that was reported yesterday in Burkina Faso. Sharing my screen now. So big thing is that, number one, this is coming in the wake of the ECOWAS scrambling for control over both Mali and Guinea, both of which had coups last year. And now the ECOWAS, which is 15 countries in West Africa, a regional body, out of 15, 3 of those countries are now without their members. And so this is kind of interesting. So Burkina Faso president, his whereabouts are unclear. And there's gunfire held overnight at the president's palace and at barracks in the capital of, I'm not even going to try to pronounce that. But the mutinying troops have demanded the sacking of military chiefs and more resources to fight Islamist militants, which, from what they're saying, is that a lot of the backlash against this administration is the inability to bring stability as far as Islamic insurgency, which is interesting, because I actually think that there's probably more to what's actually driving it, because just a few weeks ago, France was marching through Burkina Faso and with their military, and the people were all like basically throwing things at the French troops and basically causing them a lot of distress. So I think there's always like an anti-French sentiment. This can't be a coincidence, obviously, that Mali, Guinea, and now Burkina Faso, all former Francophone countries, all of which is happening at a time where the French presence in Africa is more outwardly opposed as opposed to the American presence, which it should be also. But so this is all happening. And I think that obviously there has to be a strong anti-French sentiment that's also driving this. And something that was interesting that happened is that after the coup, like, so it seemed like the people didn't necessarily push for it, but after the military took power, the people basically ran to the streets to show support for the coup leaders. I just think that some ways that this could definitely backfire is that right now we kind of see this narrative being painted of Africa and African regional bodies, and we know that these bodies are neo-colonial puppets, but the narrative is that, you know, they can't keep control. You know, the ECOWAS want to maintain control so that they can go to their colonial masters and say, hey, you know, we got this, we got this. But the United Nations is obviously looking in, and the United Nations has been chiming in on Mali, so has the European Union. And if you look at what's going on in the continent wide, from not just the coups, also a coup in Sudan, and also you have the conflict inside of Ethiopia and Eritrea, which the UN is trying to use as justification to intervene. Then you have this whole we need more vaccinations around the world, and Africa is not vaccinated, so we have to push for vaccinations there. It's like at the same time we're hearing this narrative that Africa is not able to control their own politics, therefore we have to reimpose colonialism. But of course they won't brand it as that. They'll try to brand it as, you know, humanitarian aid and trying to rectify conflicts and whatnot. So I think that there definitely can be backlash. And the last thing I'll say is that the reason why, you know, when these coups happen, we can't necessarily cheer is because they're not necessarily being driven by revolutionary organization, and they're not necessarily ideological. And that presents a problem because, yes, we don't want these neo-colonial leaders in power, but at the same time, whenever there's not an organizational structure in place, it's very easy for the imperialists to demonize the movement and illegitimize it inside of the World's Fair. So there might be well-meaning people driving this, but unfortunately, you know, if it's not done in such a way that the people are pushing for it, then it becomes easy for the international players to come in and quote unquote liberate the people of Burkina Faso or Mali or Guinea or whatnot. So those are my thoughts on the developments.
Or just to pay them off and to make them kind of just the replacement. I mean, the West has no problem with overthrows as long as they can control the new regime after a while. Like they might give it some trouble at first, but if they play ball with them, they'll fastly embrace, right? And I think you're completely right. When there's no ideological form, and even, you know, obviously even when there's radical politics, we know things can take a right turn and go wrong, particularly when you're talking about resources being given and access to things. But definitely when it starts off as a power grab, you know, just for the sense of having the power, which again, it's still up in the air. We don't know all the details and so forth. But when the sense of it is that it's a power grab, then, you know, folks can be slid right back into their prior roles as being neo-colonialists because now they have that power. And so, it's something to play out. I agree with you. I think it's great that there seems to be a strong anti-French sentiment to all of this, and it's something to bear out around what happens. I don't know if I think they're going to invade directly, but what they've been doing basically is having proxy armies from neighboring nation states come in and cause more disruption and so forth, and try to sort of block them off from, so let's say, securing whatever victory that they think they have and keeping them unstable and then making them negotiate. So yeah, we'll see what happens with that.
And to your point, that's very much could be what happens, because if we remember, you know, previous to this administration, it was Blaise Compaoré who, you know, obviously assassinated and betrayed not just Thomas Sankara, but the people of Burkina Faso. But there was the coup in 2014, and I'm sure people were very optimistic that, okay, this is a military coup. We got rid of Blaise Compaoré. Yay, Thomas Sankara's legacy. But then what happens after that is we get a new neo-colonial government, which is the one that was just deposed. And so it's not, it's very easy to deal with these, you know, fringe, you know, movements, because it's very easy for the French to come in and offer deals, or for the Americans or for anyone else to come in and offer deals and try to regain control in that region.
Oh yeah, it's definitely a power grab. I mean, even the language that's being used by the international press saying that the president resigned. I mean, resigned, motherfucker. It's like you don't. I guess resigning means you put a gun to a motherfucker head and say it's time to go. That's how you resign now in 2022. But I mean, it has all the right ingredients for you know, for a hostile takeover down the line. Like I said, they're stacking the cards right now. They're making sure that, you know, all the players that they need in place are in place, so that when they move on it, you know, even if the French lose control, best believe there'll be another colonial force that steps in, swoops down, and cuts a deal with France some kind of way, because that's the type of relationship they have. You know, so we will stay tuned with more news from not only Burkina Faso, but from the Sahel region and numerous other places that are on fire right now. So anyway, moving right along. Thanks for that, Tierney. Over in where are we talking about? What's this? Kansas. Over in Kansas DA cited a stand your ground law. We're going to talk about that. Give me 1 second. I'm having some difficulties right here. Y'all could talk your way through this while I figure out what the hell is going on with my computer. Hold on 1 second.
Why don't I jump ahead of you and do a story real quick and let you come back to that? Because this is actually related to what you were talking about earlier around the shootings and the state responses to those shootings. So our favorite mayor, New York, Eric Cop Lover Adams, is kind of back at it again. So again, over the weekend, there was a shooting of three cops actually, and I know at least one passed away, one died, and there's been sort of an uptick, as folks have been talking about around the country with gun deaths or gun violence, which is expected to happen in a country that basically sells guns like they're candy at corner stores. But I'm not going to go there for now. So the response to this by the friendly cop mayor is to relaunch a version of the street crimes unit. So basically, for those who don't know, the street crimes unit is a notorious unit from New York City from the 70s and 80s, which is supposed to be an anti-crime unit, which is supposed to be plainclothes, and they stop people on the street and check for guns. And then they use any rationale that they can think of at the time to stop people. So it's supposed to be if you broken tail light, or you didn't make a turn, they put your turn signal on, or basically you walking down the street, basically you're black, basically you are out in public, whatever it is, they will come up with a rationale and stop you and search you, which has led to not only false arrests and then charges, but the actual killing of people, because the unit is trained to, like most cops are, right, to be very responsive and aggravated to any sense of you defying what they're telling you to do. They're pumped up, they're hyped, they're out there late at night. They've been given these special names. They used to have a motto like "We Own the Night." And the very famous killing in New York was Amadou Diallo, which was by the street crimes unit. And then a variation of one of those units was the one that choked out, I forgot his first, Eric Garner, a few years ago. And then these units were disbanded under de Blasio. But Eric Adams is using the shootings that have been happening as an excuse to bring back these units, which, lastly, I'll say, were never successful in taking any sort of guns off the street. Their percentages were like 99% of the people they stopped would not have guns. The percentages were that more white folks who they stopped, far less than black folks, had guns than the black folks that they stopped, who, again, they stopped in such large numbers that it led to a stop and frisk class action lawsuit against New York City to stop that type of harassment. So Eric Adams is bringing back these type of units, and the media right now is basically cheering him on, because the white media, of course, is saying, "Oh my God, gun violence is happening in the streets, and we're so concerned." And so bring back, so we're cool with this black mayor, right? This neo-colonialist black mayor does it because that's part of the cover that they've been given.
You brought up Amadou Diallo. I thought of Abner Louima, but Amadou Diallo, for folks who young folks, he was I believe he was 23 at the time. Had a wallet trying to go inside of his own home, reaching for his keys, and they shot him up and said that they thought that his wallet was a gun. So that's the kind of unit. But it's crazy because of the fact that these units exist in every particular city across the United States, every major city. And even with what you're saying, it sounds, it sounds like, okay, yeah, they're talking about bringing them back, but the fact is they never left. They only left in name. It's just like COINTELPRO. You know what I'm saying? Counterinsurgency never left. You can't have war. You can't have imperialism without counterinsurgency. That's just an ingredient. That's one of the main components. So the streets of New York have been notorious. I mean, I would always be amazed going to Harlem. I'd be on 125th, and these white boys will just jump out of a unmarked car and just start snatching motherfuckers up and throwing them. You know what I mean? So I remember the first time we saw it happen, we didn't know what was going on. So we ready to rumble, cats telling us to chill because of the fact that, it's like these crackers coming to Harlem. This is before it was gentrified. You know what I'm saying? And just like literally kicking people's shit over, throwing them against the wall, men, women, children. You know what I'm saying? And it was no repercussion. But now, or whenever, a cop gets shot, then it's something crazy. This past weekend, three different police units were shot at, or in 3 different states there were police shootings. And I can't I mean, I saw the one in New York. I saw the mother crying, saying that the mother of the actual shooter, or the accused shooter, they were saying that she felt bad for the children of the police officers, so on and so forth. She had actually called the police on them. You know what I'm saying? So once again, we're calling the police on our family members, and then we regret the outcome. So we have to come up with some type of logical conclusion, or some type of logical arrangement where we can say, okay, boom, we already know that these motherfuckers are killers. They're certified. You know what I'm saying? So you're literally gambling. It's like you are, shooting dope or something. You know what I'm saying? Trying to see, will I OD this time? You know what I mean? Calling the police is like, man, I mean, it's insane. And the first thing they do is they get on TV crying, talking about a cop who got shot, and some of us don't cry. But anyway, moving right along.
Yeah, I think the struggle is the narrative is not controlled by us, because clearly my personal feeling right now, just seeing how badly the Democrats, whether black, white, or whatever, are selling us out, is that these people should be looked at as more of an enemy to us than the Republicans. At least when there's a Republican in office, if this were to be passed under a white Republican, it would have been a different response, I think. But the fact that Democrats are willing to do the same thing, like I was just watching a video yesterday, Joe Biden talking about, yeah, we're going to fund more police. Oh, yes, we need to make sure we're giving more police funds. Yes, absolutely. And it's like that whole, defund, not, although he didn't say defund the police, but he was trying to, skate around like, oh, yeah, we're going to, try to de-escalate things like that. So quickly, now that he's in office, the pushback is gone. And it's a lot of that is because the people who would push back, like people like this platform, are being silenced out by these bigger platforms. They get to flood the airwaves with so much information about that doesn't pertain to our actual condition, almost like intentionally trying to distract us from when things like this happen. Instead, I'm actually going to be talking about this tomorrow on We Charge Colonialism TV. People are talking about critical race theory and arguing with white supremacists about why this should be in their school. Meanwhile, like the same government that, is telling you that this is going to be good. Yeah, fight about critical race theory. Go fight with those white supremacists. Meanwhile, they're passing laws and doing things to recriminalize our communities at a rapid speed. And none of us are paying attention because we'll fight the battles that the media is putting out in front of us. And so it's really a fight to control the narrative. We have to be very clear that whoever is in office, whoever's the one that is going to be the overseer at the assigned time, this person can have no legitimate respect from our community. We have to have a mentality that we're only going to find this type of protection amongst ourselves and not from this system. The system has shown us what it's going to do. It's just now a matter for us to believe that the system is what the system is.
Right. And we got to remember, like, this is incarceration nation. We're talking about a country that spends $81 billion a year on incarceration. 81 billion. You know what I'm saying? And that's just, that's the numbers that we know. You know what I'm saying? You're talking about, again, a country that's 5% of the world population that has 25% of the prison population. You know what I mean? So, when you talk about slavery by any other name, I mean, it's like, come on, man. And we're still like, we still have the craziest thing, the most insane thing is the fact that people still have faith in this system. Like you said, Democrat, Republican, Dixiecrat, whatever, it's the same joint. You know what I mean? And it's like, man, I mean, saying wake up is not enough. Being woke is not enough.
I mean, I'll quickly add, on both of those points, and then particularly on that narrative point, like in our folks, the country, the way it's set up is like every solution is arresting or policing or more policing or more arresting, more jail time, more prison. And people continually buy that as the solution here. There's never any, like you said, like there's never some grand swelling of political action that's around alleviating poverty. Why? Because they just don't give a damn, right? And they need to want their excess labor. They just want it to be controlled. They just want it to be quiet. They want it to be harnessed. They want to be able to use it for when they want to use it, and then have you shut up and live in misery, right? Until they call upon you to work your your $7 an hour federal or minimum wage job, and then they want you to shut up and go back in. They want you to make those deliveries during COVID and just appreciate the fact that you're getting paid less than minimum wage, and then go back to your little hubble and shut up, right? So that, you know, and as long as they can usually, again, if they can contain violence within our neighborhoods, they'll police it and they'll contain it. But for them, the big thing is, oh, now you shot a cop, right? Yeah. And let's remember, like, this cop wasn't shot on the street, so some street crimes unit has nothing to do with what happened in this incident. It's the same, so this happened in someone's house that the cops went into. No street unit would make any difference whatsoever. It's the same thing out here in Atlanta, where they're building at this Cop City, this training center for the police and the fire department, the hugest, the biggest training center that they will in the country for a police force that's not even in the top 5 in terms of numbers. And so they're doing that to stop people from coming after all the mobilizations on the street. And they're building this big center. And what's their big call out to people as to why they're building it? Because we need to stop crime. A center that won't get built in the next 3 years, right? It's going to take 3 years to build a center, somehow has any relevance to any potential or so-called crime increase is ridiculous. But those narratives work in the media. They work with scared folks who watch news all the time, who hear like, oh my God, something happened, so it's going to happen to me next. So all that stuff plays into this idea, like, we ourselves, like, it's like, if we can think of those alternatives and implement those alternatives and get the larger community behind us, we would be in a much better place.
Hey man, it's the construction of a police state. You know what I mean? And I think that in my soul, that whole Cop City thing, to me, is another. It's a tourist attraction. You know what I'm saying? It's a way to get more police into the state of Georgia and say, look, we have this high-tech 100-acre plus plot of land where you can train and practice in the art of combat, because ultimately that's what it is. The more they talk about defunding the police, the more money is poured into the police. So it's like, an empty cry. You know what I'm saying? And that's why, move towards the whole idea of decentralizing the police. And that's something we will definitely be talking about in future episodes. But I was trying to get to this other story here because of the fact that, you have this 17-year-old, for all practical purposes, child who was killed in Kansas. Can you all see the screen? Okay, yeah. So it says a Kansas DA cited stand your ground laws and announced no charges in death of teen in custody. Okay, so this is the 17-year-old boy. You know what I'm saying? He doesn't look like much of a threat. Perhaps, they knew something we didn't. Anyway, it says a Kansas district attorney announced that he would be filing no charges in connection with the death of Cedric Lofton, a Black teenager who died in law enforcement custody, citing the state's robust stand your ground law. Okay, Lofton, who is 17, died in September after being handcuffed and restrained in a prone position, meaning lying face down during a struggle with staff and corrections employees at a juvenile facility. Sedgwick County District Attorney Mark Bennett said at a Tuesday news conference that the employees involved acted in self-defense under the stand your ground law because the team resisted and struggled with correction staff there, and therefore they are immune from prosecution. Lofton family lawyers disagreed, saying officers took his breath away, literally, by putting Lofton in a prone position. And they said Bennett's decision is another instance of no accountability for the death of an unarmed black teen. An autopsy report found in December that Lofton's cause of death was complications of cardiopulmonary arrest sustained after physical struggle while restrained in a prone position. The medical examiner ruled the death a homicide. Now, this shit is so wild. So now they're saying that basically, here it is, this 17-year-old boy who was resisting. You have these grown men, these adults who have this child in a prone position, okay, and literally takes his breath away, causes cardio complications, and ultimately the child is dead. This is a juvenile, and their response is a stand your ground law. So had George Floyd's killer heard about this whole stand your ground situation, perhaps that might have been what was used for him. You know what I mean? They was choking him, he's resisting, so we were standing our ground. I mean, that shit is insane. If you can't work at a juvenile facility, that boy that we just saw on that page doesn't look like he's over 140 pounds. If you can't restrain a 145-pound boy, then you need a new job. You need a whole different line of work, man, because this shit is like, I mean, come on, man. I mean, I don't even.
Oh, sorry.
Now go ahead, please. I'm
yeah, I was gonna say it's well known that the prone position, like it's well known in police departments, that can kill you. And I don't understand why. Unless it's intentional or just grossly negligent. Why these adults feel like they have to take such drastic measures to restrain kids? I mean, like you said, working in a juvenile facility, you're dealing with youth many times who have been traumatized already. You're not going to get someone that's going to just go along with everything that you said. I mean, you don't know what the circumstances of that child were coming into that facility. So you have to be someone who at least is trained to try to de-escalate or try to, if you need to restrain a child, find some type of way to do so safely. That should be a assumed part of the job. You know, I'm going to have to deal with kids who might be fighting or stuff like that. And yet, time after time after time, police department after police department, they're always putting these kids or men on their stomach, like they know darn well like that can kill them. So I really wish after George Floyd that at least that entire position would have been banned by now. But you know, Biden's not going to do anything about it. We know that.
Yeah, we know that the only difference right now between the George Floyd case and this case probably is like there's a video. Not in George Floyd, there was a video, so they couldn't cry out like self-defense or stand your ground or whatever type of defense legal defense they were trying to use. So you know, hopefully there's some cameras in here and we get to see an actual video, which will disrupt the narrative again that they're going to be trying to use to suggest that this young boy was a threat. And it's continual that you know, as we already know, right, that this is going to happen in a system that is built on the brutality of our people, because like, you know, we're not thought of as human, we're disposable, and they'll try out their rough tactics. Again, these people, this is trained for aggression, not trained for some kid is having a mental health issue. They shouldn't be locked down anyway, probably in the first place. But let's just say that they need to be separated from the family. Where are the mental health facilities or support or help? Why, again, is it all just a brutal sort of placement in a prison-like atmosphere that really just brings out folks' natural aggression to say to the, you know, like, leave me alone, get away from me. Like, what's going on? My life is being taken away. No one's listening to me, right? So if you don't have trained professionals, what you again have is usually minimum wage soldiers for the state who are getting off on having some power over a 15-year-old or 14-year-old, whether it's a grown man or grown woman, but somebody they themselves want to look down upon because they're in a position of like, oh, I got a job and you don't, basically, you know. Then they, you know, these cats, they want to preach to you. They want to tell you about, you know, what you're doing wrong in life. It's like, you're a minute away from where I'm at. You're just taking a salary from the state, right? Not a good salary either, because you out there doing security for the nightclub right after you get off of this job. So you know, a little more humanity would be in order, but you can't do that because this little power position you have has made you, like, again, on the state side, you repping them, you supporting their narrative, you giving out their ideology, and meanwhile you're killing young people. And that's what happens in these these juvenile facilities, but state prisons, federal prisons, jails. It's this power dynamic. And these guards, again, they just feel like they are in control and they want to be in control. And they'll do anything that they think is necessary to let you know it. And it's a future warning to other people who come in that these folks are like, they're the gang. They run in the block, you know.
No doubt. Stay tuned to BPM for more on that. I want to run through this next story real quick because of the fact that I feel obligated because so many folks are not reporting on it. So we spoke earlier about Lauren Smith Fields, a young lady out in the Bridgeport, Connecticut area. Give me 1 second. Yeah, so basically, there's this report about this young lady here. They were talking about how a Bridgeport family is claiming that the police department was negligent in their investigation of her death. She was 23-year-old Lauren Smith Fields. There was actually a march and rally on Sunday in Bridgeport because of the fact that there hadn't been any true coverage of her situation. She's a 24-year-old who died unexpectedly. According to the police, she met some white guy on a social media app called Bumble. I'm not familiar with it. Maybe some of you are. But anyway, this particular guy goes to her home. And in the morning, he reports that, that she got sick in the middle of the night or something. And he woke up and she was lying dead next to him. Okay, so they investigated, and the guy didn't get arrested or anything. He was 37-year-old. They said that the police literally said that he seemed like a good guy, so on and so forth, and they swept it under the rug. This happened December 12th. The family didn't find out about the death to a day and a half later when they went to her apartment, and the landlord had left a note on the door. The police said they didn't feel obligated to make this report to the family because of the fact that they knew who the victim was already. So a autopsy report was just released yesterday, and they claimed that Smith Fields died from acute intoxication due to the combined effects of fentanyl, promethazine, hydroxyzine, and alcohol. Now, our family claims that, she didn't even do drugs, but they found all these particular drugs inside of her. And, the family wants answers. I know that they said that her brother had came and stopped by the home to pick something up. And she came outside for like 15 minutes. And, there appeared to be nothing wrong with her. There was no signs of her being intoxicated or any of that type of stuff. But, they're saying different. So, the media is just starting to pick this up. I've gotten so many different texts and inbox and emails over the past few days. And, we're gonna stay on this story because of the fact that, here it is, this 23-year-old girl who, basically, her life is gone. So the guy, the white guy, I can't think of his name, whatever, but he claims that, they had some drinks and they were just eating pizza and watching TV. So I know that the police found a used condom and some other type of pill on the scene, but still, like I said, they let him go. They said, they didn't see any type of foul play or whatever. And, she's black, he's white, and we're in America. Anyway, we will keep you all posted on what's going on with this Lauren Smith Fields case. Without further ado, we have the ear doctor coming on up.
All right, wake up, y'all. That's a crazy story.
That was just crazy. That just sounded crazy, man. Yeah.
Hey, real quick, since we're talking about stories, so you mean to tell me that in school they're gonna stop these teachers from talking about their history because it makes them feel bad or looks bad? So they're gonna make a law to? Are you serious? So you can just alleviate a part of the history and be like, we ain't got to talk about that.
They've been doing that for a while. Places in Texas with cutting out certain curriculum, like how they even describe or talk about the enslavement of Africans.
Wow.
Like you can't say certain. It's all about creating a ideological narrative that that makes them feel good, but doesn't tell the truth. We can talk more about this later because you're about to do your break. But this whole, the whole critical race theory. Is basically a Republican plant ideological issue that there's no curriculum being taught in public school from kindergarten to 12th grade that is based on critical race theory, because that's not the basis of the curriculum that's taught. So this fake narrative is really about, again, scaring white folks so they can get their votes, that the Negroes are invading or changing their history or doing other things or whatever. So
wow. The bigger, just really quick tragedy, I think, of this, like I said, I'll talk about this tomorrow, is that so many of us are focused on responding to the white folks. Like, personally, I don't want, the school system that is part of the white supremacist state to have the responsibility to teach my kid. I probably will make a better case to my kid at home, teaching them their history. And I'll know that I'm teaching them the full scope. So I'm not saying that you don't aspire to a school that actually does teach the truth, but so much resources, so much conversation going to this. Meanwhile, there are other things more pressing. I mean, I do think it's a plant and anytime you want to know something's a plant, CNN's talking about it all the time. It's a plant, so.
Well, I want to just end it with this before we go to the ear doctor real quick, and just say that I have some different thoughts and I will be speaking on in the next couple of days. I wasn't going to say anything, but I'm going to put it out there. My 8-year-old daughter was just called a nigger by another student this past Friday. So we're going through some things with that right now. And, it's just, and this is in Georgia, you know what I mean? So this is another little white child who decided that it was okay to express his learned behavior. So, we're looking at some avenues right now. So just wanted to point that out.
All right. Well, let's get to a quick break. It's artist spotlight time. So let's get to it. Yo.
Remix Morning Show.
All right. What's good, everybody? Welcome out once again to the Remix Morning Show. I go by the name of the Ear Doctor, and it is time to do a quick artist spotlight. We like to bring it in different genres, from hip hop to R&B to soul to blues, whatever. As long as we did it, since we created everything, we might as well make sure y'all remember people that made sure that this music stayed alive and stayed dope. So who am I going to talk about today? No other than, that's right, the Bar-Kays. I'm going to talk about the Bar-Kays. And big up to everybody that came by Sundays for the mix I did with some funk music. And we definitely funked it up. So the Bar-Kays, real quick, they did soul, R&B, funk group. They started in 1966. They had a number of singles like Son of Shaft, Boogie Body Land, and some other numerous hits. They came straight out of Memphis, Tennessee, and they got signed back in Stax Records artists. One Stax record artist that took them under their wing, you might know of, is Otis Redding. That's right. Some of this band was even on the plane that crashed that took out a lot of these artists. So the same plane that Otis Redding was on. And they was also working with Booker T and the MGs. So they've been working with those different bands. They got on, did their albums. And I mean, they really pretty much came out with like 12 albums from 1967 to 2012. So they've been doing their thing for a while. You might know another song, Freak Show on the Dance Floor. It was a song that was in the beginning of the movie Breaking. That's right. And in case you didn't know, also one of the artists whose son is a big producer who goes by the name of Jazzy Faye. That's right. His son, one of the artists from the Bar-Kays, son, is Jazzy Faye, the producer. So you see that lineage goes down, and they are in the Memphis Music Hall of Fame. So big up to the Bar-Kays for doing your thing. And also, when we talk about how these youngsters dress, let's not front, because these guys was wearing some wild outfits. Man, some wild outfits. So that's what it is. That is your artist spotlight for the day, the Bar-Kays. So check them out when you get a chance and rock to it. All right. Let's get back to the morning show. All right. Yeah.
It was a good piece, man. I think along with what you were saying is in regards to them being on a plane with Otis Redding, I think people forget that Otis Redding was 26 years old when he died.
Damn.
You know what I'm saying? Folks look at him like he was some elder. I mean, this guy right here, he was 26. I believe the accident was December 10th, 67 or something like that. I was a big fan of Otis and Sam and all of them, but it's just crazy because of the fact that, I mean, most of the band was taken out. I think there was one survivor on that plane.
Yeah, one. Yep.
Yeah. And you know, that was, I mean, I think it was going from one gig to another, but you know, they were doing their thing, man. So, you know, definitely shout out to Otis Redding. And I know Otis Redding III is out here, right?
Yeah, he's out here. His son is out here playing the what is it, guitar? I met him one time. He's cool dude.
Him and Isaac Hayes' son out this way. But yeah, man. You know,
I like you pointing out the fashion things. I was like, people don't understand. These cats were out. People get so conservative these days too. It's like, yo, B, the 70s was a while. If you look at them outfits, even the early hip hop artists, B, when you look at them outfits, those were not like, you know, some tame, they dressed all in black or whatever like that. These kids were flashy. They made Prince look conservative, some of them. I was like, God damn.
They look like backup dancers for the Ringling Brother Circus, man.
They were loving it. And they were loving it. Hey, they put them rape things. I was like, look, I'm looking fly. You know what I'm saying?
It's putting it down, man. It's putting it down. I guess really with fashion, man, we all had our moments in time because I look at some of the stuff we were wearing back in the 80s. Cats was actually walking around these not Ralph Cramden hats. What's the raccoon hats with the tails on the back?
Oh, that's right.
David Boone. The David Boone hat.
Daniel Boone.
Daniel Boone, yeah.
Maybe I said David Boone. Okay.
I was getting like little David Bowie.
You think about Boone's Farm. I don't know.
Little squirrel hat. Little squirrel hat.
Word, Night Train. Don't get us started on that Irish Rose, Wild Irish Rose. Man, those were the days.
You was on that Mad Dog. Anyway,
I'm gonna find my picture of my, you know, because the big fashion back in the day too was like, you know, suspenders with no shirt on. I'm gonna find that one for you.
Oh my God! Man. Please find that, son.
We
got.
I don't know if we want to see that one, bro.
Oh yeah, I want to see that.
I think
some had his suspenders on. Talking.
Yeah, I was exactly.
Yeah, man, we had the suspenders. What's the other joint?
Bell bottoms, son, with the bell bottoms. Okay,
and the overalls and whatnot. All that stuff was cool at one point. You know what I'm saying? So we can't really talk too crazy about some of the fashions.
Nah, people be losing their mind. Like, oh, look at this one and that one. It's like, hey, did you?
You ain't lying.
Album covers that you were looking that you were rocking back then. Come on,
they wore some, like, the punk rock was tight leather pants, but now they wear tight jeans that sag. I just don't get it.
Look at you.
Yeah, but don't front like the spikes were, the spike belts and everything were.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? The Gazelles, the Porsche glasses that you fold up, or was those Ferraris?
For real. You're right.
I couldn't afford Gazelles, B. I never had Gazelles.
Hey, man, they had Gazelles for cats that couldn't afford.
Exactly.
Gazelles.
No, Gazelles was the real one. Gazelles was the fake one.
That's right.
Yeah. Don't front like you ain't had the Gazelles. Like, nigga, those is fake. And then they had. I'm having
what
flashbacks.
It is.
Anyway,
that's the artist spotlight for the day. I'll holler at y'all later. Peace.
All right,
no doubt. Remix morning show. It look like we're alone on this track, man. And we have some guests coming. What's going on?
I think we do, but they're not on yet. So I do got another story.
Okay, well, bring the story, man. That's how you know they're officially BPM, because they ain't on time. So they're official. Anyway, what you got popping?
Well, the story, this is less about the actual story, more about the why. Why is this happening? So in Georgia, there's going to be an impaneled grand jury to probe of Trump's bid to overturn the 2020 election. And so a Georgia prosecutor is investigating then U.S. President Donald Trump's effort to overturn the 2020 election results in the state. Will be allowed to seat a special grand jury subpoena witness to testify against them. And this is happening too in a different version of it is also happening in New York. And this is kind of, some of this, I'm not even interested in the prosecution of Trump per se. I'm interested in the narrative that these Democrats want to spin, right, as opposed to solving real problems. It's like, so now it's just 2 years later. You know what I mean? This is like the dude lost. He's out the office. You're going to spend literally millions of dollars on resources. You know, you're not going to prosecute him. You're not going to bring him here to Georgia. You know, there's not going to be a trial. He's not going to prison over it. But this is a publicity campaign because you don't want to deal with the real issues happening here in Georgia or Atlanta that are within your purview to resolve or to deal with. Instead, you want to do something that gets you national headlines in AP or Reuters or the New York Times because you're going to sue Trump or try to get Trump in prison. And so I just found I've seen like several of these stories, and it was like, so is this what we're using so-called prosecutorial resources on? Like the Attorney General in New York, I'm forgetting her name.
Letitia. I can't think of her last name. Letitia Gray, not Letitia Gray.
No. When
somebody went to school with.
You remember, yeah, you know, she's doing something similar around the finances and the taxes, but it's like these, you know, these type of either probes or prosecutions are meant for publicity stunts. And again, meanwhile, you got cops killing kids and killing kids on the street. You got prison guards killing people in the jails. Why aren't you probing or impounding grand juries on for charges for these people or on class action lawsuits to clean these places up? Instead, do you want to sort of fulfill this sort of national narrative that this is all about your battle with the Republicans? Because again, that'll bring in your cash poll, that'll bring in your cash. It'll bring in what you think is going to get people on your side, particularly again, media. And then things stay the same. And so there's this game that's continually played. And then I you know, for me, again, there's just this plethora of stories about it. And it's just like, this is, you know, it's becoming even more of a joke than it was before, you know.
Of course. Yeah. I mean, and like you said, it's the sidetracking of the slaves. It's like, why deal with real issues? You know what I'm saying? Let's not talk about that. Let's talk about this over here. We already know that the whole Trump situation, like you said, it's the I mean, they're playing the same game he played when he was in office. Everything was about Obama. Now all of a sudden it's Trump's fault. You know what I'm saying? And then of course it'll be Biden's fault. It's just let's just play the P game, 3-card Monte, and just keep it going just like that. But I mean, of course, like you said, Georgia is in a hell of a space politically right now. You know what I mean? It's amazing how through the years, the state of Georgia has been thrust into the spotlight from a narrow political viewpoint. And folks are actually thinking that there's a difference being made from here. You know what I mean? I think that the beautiful thing about it is at this particular stage, it's we are upsetting the natives. And when I say natives, I really mean the settlers. These colonialists who stepped into the game and decided that, we're going to change the whole thing. But I think that one of our guests are here. You know what I mean? So we're going to see. We don't know where our partner is, but we're going to bring her on anyway because that's what we do around here. In fact, we're not even going to go to break. We're just going to bring her on.
We're going to bring her on? Because she's going to be trying out as a co-host, so I think this is like
about to do.
Co-host.
Wow.
Yeah, that's what happened around here.
Good morning.
Erica? How you doing?
Hello. I'm just trying to figure out how y'all start off clowning us. Like, how is that just the foundation of this thing?
That's how we do this thing.
Did you get that impression that we was clowning y'all? Did I miss something?
We had a call time. We are on time.
Oh, okay. My bad. Okay. Oh, my bad.
Uh-huh.
Are y'all not late? My bad.
Yeah.
My bad.
Exactly. Hi. Thank you for having me.
Hi.
Yeah. Well, Amber, who I hope is about to join us, Amber got like 11,000 children. So she's just trying to, get here. But as she's trying to do that, thank y'all for having us. We're down in Texas, in Dallas.
Okay.
So, we bringing up this part of the country for y'all. Y'all got some of that
thing.
East Coast and some of that Atlanta. So here we come.
Well, just as an introduction, so this is Erica, one half of Brokish, who y'all been doing your thing for a little while, but you've just joined the Black Power Media family, and we're glad to have you guys on. So why don't we start with you giving us a little bit of breakdown on what the Brokish podcast is all about?
Yeah, so Brokish is we new to y'all's neighborhood, but we've been on the block, let's say that.
Okay.
And we've been around for about 3 years now, and it's specifically been a podcast. And honestly, I don't like video. My forehead is too big for all this, but you know, the people are pushing us to video. So here we are. Um, but yeah, for the past 3 years, I actually started brokerage with another friend of mine. And it started because I just started reading information and learning things about Black wealth data. And then I'm looking around and the people I know and my cousins, you know, everybody's still asking for money. Nobody has it. And I'm like, there's a lie somewhere, right? Like the lies that I think I see aren't aligning with the information that I'm reading and I believe. And so I was like, let's start to talk about this. And so it really started out just as understanding the racial wealth gap, understanding really the Black wealth position in America. And then after that, we were, you know, also still looking around and we were like, so it started off broke-ish was all the unbelievable ish that America's going to keep us broke. And then it was like, look at all this broke-ish that's around, all these broken systems that are really weaponized against us, and not just to keep us broke, but just to keep us from thriving and living and being whole and well. And that's sort of how the show has evolved over the 3 years.
Wow. So how do you, I mean, like you said, you've been on the block for a while. She just bossed up on us like, look, y'all new to us. We've been around here. We know what y'all been doing. We came
like, I'm not new in these podcasts.
Yeah. So I don't know who you think y'all are. We've been here before Black Power Media. Anyway, this transition, because, you know, I've heard you say a couple different times, you know, you all don't really like the video thing and so on and so forth. How has that transition been? And how has it been, you know, getting down this radical group of citizens known as Black Power Media? How's that road taking you so far?
I can be real, can't I?
I hope so.
Okay, y'all, I've been a little bit scared, like, because when you have a podcast, there really is no way necessarily for people to talk back to you unless they are, you know, engaging with you on social media. So between the two of us, and I really hope Amber's going to be able to come. So Amber lives on Instagram. I live on Twitter. I don't understand Instagram. I don't know how it works. I do Twitter and she don't know how it works. And that's how we break ourselves up. But unless you have a big following on social media, nobody's really talking back. But when I started posting videos and people start replying to what we were saying and they had stuff to say, and sometimes, you know, people can get a little bit, and I'm like, well, y'all, do you know my heart? You know, like I'm like, we're trying out here, you know, but I mean, people tell me my head is big and my lighting is bad, and, you know, they didn't like our guest. And it's kind of scary, but it's fun. So I have liked the fact that even in this short time, we've had a few folks in Black Power Media who've been really supportive, and they're watching all the shows and leaving us good comments, and I appreciate that.
Yeah, I think so. Social media is a spot for folks to be snarky, even with best intentions, you know, and even when folks are, hey, we are joined by Amber. Hi, Amber. How you doing, sis?
I heard y'all was talking about it.
Nah. Why are y'all coming on with the fight sound? Hey, you are late, Amber.
That's that Midwest, man. Come in, gangster. I heard y'all was talking about
us. What it's about to go down.
Hey, she looked at the camera
like, talking about you was Erica. Erica said you busy with your 11,000. That's a quote, B. Your 11,000 babies.
She said 11,000, not even 11,000. 11,000.
Amber, don't you got a lot of kids?
I do, too many, but it's tax time.
So Amber,
Black Power Media.
No, we're glad that you came on, and thanks for joining us. So we already started talking about sort of the premise of the show. So we're going to jump in and ask you also. So in terms of like bookish and what you guys feel like you've discovered or information that you brought out that have sort of talked about the Black condition, what are some of the top things that even for you guys may have been like, oh wow, I didn't realize that when we first started talking about doing this podcast, or in terms of your research or study, you just found it like so central to understanding the Black condition. Like, so what a couple of those things are? And when we start with you, Amber.
I think for me, one of the biggest things is recognizing how deeply entrenched white supremacy is in so many areas of our life. And I know it was last season, I think, Erica and I did a show about dieting and white supremacy, and just even just like exploring the things that we've sort of objectively labeled as health consciousness or objectively labeled as aspirational because this is how you need to look or how you need to show up in order to be your best self. Just sort of unpacking the ways that things like a BMI measure is laden with racism, how the dieting industry almost linearly goes back to the tropes about Black bodies from slavery. And I think one of the great things about Brokish for me personally is just it opens your eyes and sort of encourages you to interrogate everything. Why do I think this? Who's invested in me thinking this? Who's passed this along to me? And I think that was a really big turning point for me last season, because my weight, my body, that's just something I've struggled with my whole life. But just really starting to realize that this stuff is all around us and it's intentional. And so much of what we've taken in as like objective, unbiased data has really been a part of the propaganda meant to uphold the hierarchy that keeps us at the bottom and them at the top.
Word, that's cool.
And I'm sorry if I could just add on to what Amber was saying in terms of what the show has brought. I'm excited because the show for us was an opportunity to meet people like Jared. So we met Dr. Jared Ball, and he, put us on and introduced us to you guys. And not only him, but just the host of guests that we've been able to have on the show and real experts, because, Amber's a lawyer, so she has a real set of, like expertise and all that. I'm just a regular mama that didn't have all that. So it's nice for me to have just people who are coming to share different perspectives and just helping us to help other people to broaden their approach as well. As my approach is being broadened, hopefully the brokers, that's what we call folks who listen to our show, hopefully their views and viewpoints are being broadened too.
The brokers. That sound hardcore. But anyway, Amber, we wasn't talking about you. That wasn't us. We just want to straighten that out now because she still got the grill on her face and we want to be
I was listening to Nuck If You Buck and everything. I was ready.
Okay.
I was ready.
Now we together in this
she's
track.
like, I'm calling from the closet, but look, don't get it twisted.
See, I was going to point that out, but then I was
going to ask about the closet too.
Like, she hides from them 11,000 kids.
Basically, and so I still live in a new construction neighborhood. So my homies building these houses, they be live early in the morning. It's a whole party going on outside. I mean, so if you hear the music, I mean, they started about 30 minutes ago. So I, have to find me a quiet place, but it's lit and live over here. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm curious, so what topics are you guys thinking about exploring in the future that you like, what you got coming up for us in terms of the brokish world that you think folks need to know about?
Yeah. So of course, we got to talk about cryptocurrency just because we're brokish and we talk a lot about financial issues. So we got to talk about the stain that is cryptocurrency. We'll also be talking about Black land loss or Black land theft, which is probably a more appropriate term.
Mm-hmm.
We want to talk about environmental racism. So this whole farce of DEI or now the new term, I guess, is Jedi. DEI wasn't enough. And so now y'all add a little justice to it. So those are like a few things that we'll tackle, but we're always open to new ideas. And I know the people on YouTube will tell us. So
yes.
No doubt. But we definitely glad to have you on because of the fact that you all come with a whole different flavor, even though y'all sound like Jared Ball's third cousins removed when you're talking about crypto and everything. But we're definitely happy to have some new flavor. Welcome on board to the BPM family.
Thank you.
We're looking forward to a long, prosperous build.
Is there a time that you guys usually come on? Yeah. I'm trying here.
I appreciate you. Yeah. So our show, the podcast part of it, and the part that's on YouTube on Black Media, they come out on the 1st and 15th, like these direct deposits. So that's when you can get your brokish is on the 1st and the 15th. So y'all just, when you're looking, look for your and we will be there.
No doubt. Well, listen, we have another guest, and you all are welcome to stick around and start your first day of co-hosting here at RemiX Morning Show.
Don't y'all want to do that in the future? Don't y'all want to come on, be co-host? Amber, I can tell you want to.
I do. I just need y'all have to give me the right time because I'm Baptist and I struggle with time anyway. So y'all just got to give me the right time.
So we gotta lie to you then. Okay. No doubt. We're definitely happy to have you all on. You guys want to stick around for this next guest or what?
Can
you got to run?
Quiet? Can we just hide in the cut? Like,
y'all can be in the cut.
Yeah, we can do that.
Cool,
I'm already in the cut, so.
Cool. Well, we're gonna bring you back up, so y'all be cut. You're gonna be cutting on the screen. But anyway, this is how we break it in. So we're gonna get it started with we're gonna go to the ear doctor real quick, and then after we come back, we have a guest, brother
Joseph Jr.
Joseph Jr. Look at that. Thank you, brother.
Hey, what up, ladies? How y'all doing today? Big up
Good
to the
morning.
BPM family. All right.
Good
Well, let's get into it right now. We're gonna go to a BPM flashback, and let's do it like that.
Remix.
Yeah. What's good, everybody? Once again, welcome out. This is Black Power Media. Make sure y'all hit that like button, that subscribe button, and the notifications so y'all can know what's going down. All right. With that said, I wanted to take y'all back in time. Since I got my brothers that that I did the renegade culture with, I was like, you know what? Let me bring back one of a pretty dope interview we had, which was on our episode called "The Ballad of Black Power and the Forgotten Militant." So we got to talk to a brother. So let's check out what he was talking about. This is a brother that walked with Martin Luther King and a bunch of different leaders. So here it is.
So what do you think was happening during that time period that made people sort of this ready for that kind of switch from this sort of traditional civil rights approach, nonviolent approach, to shouting, we want power?
Because we had went to Mississippi. At that time, we had to go in the back doors, say yes to all white people, and we were being assassinated, like Medgar Evans, 3 civil rights workers, Sammy Young Jr. in Tuskegee, Alabama, who worked with SNCC, went into a bathroom to say white on, and white man shot him in the head with a shotgun. The murder of many other SNCC people, burned down churches, burned down schools, and they used terrorism against the people, and they have been doing that for the last 100, 200 years. So people were in slavery, basically, but we fought for the right to vote. They beat Fannie Lou Hamer, but we built the SNCC, whatever it would go, it would start organizations and then create leadership. And then we would be the advisors. And that was the difference in Dr. King and SNCC. We were organized and we create local leadership where the preachers come in, they saw themselves as the leader. So we had a different style of organizing. And that so when we organized the Mississippi Freedom Democratic Party and many other local groups, we had organized the Black Panther Party in Lowndes County, Alabama, where we picked up guns. So people going through.
Woo! Man, you talking about some stories. That brother Baba Mukasa got some stories. So y'all need to go check that episode out. And yeah, go check it out. It had some dope stories you've never heard before in the civil rights movement. So with that said, let's take it back to the Remix Morning host. Now we do.
Yes. It was definitely a great episode. Shout out to our main man Mukasa Dada, formerly Willie Ricks of SNCC. He's actually the brother who coined the term Black Power.
Black Power.
Yes, and then there was Kwame Ture, formerly Stokely Carmichael, who took the who took it to another level. So definitely shout out to Baba Mukasa, who's still in the streets working. We've done a number of different pieces throughout the years, and
what I like
he
about
got
that
stories,
excerpt.
we got stories. Yes.
What I like about that excerpt is people, when people talk about our folks who were killed back in the 60s and stuff, they say Malcolm and they say Martin. And people don't understand that the history of terror against our people, just because you know about these two famous people, that history of terror runs deep. And he's naming names of, unless you've studied civil rights, you have some interest in it, and you've done some research on it, you don't understand like the names of people who were murdered. Obviously the folks who were lynching, not even doing civil rights work, but just because they were Black, right? the rape, the murder, the lynching, the killings, the brutalization of our people to fight against the terror, which is white supremacy. And that, you know, and again, that's partly why we do this kind of media apparatus is folks need to understand that this history is deep. It's not some surface history, and the ramifications of all that's happened then are still around happening now. And so we got to be aware of that stuff.
No question, no question. With that in mind, we have a guest that we're going to go to in a couple seconds. This brother, I met him a few years back. Was on a panel with him and a few other good folks who lost their children due to law enforcement. And you know, I met this brother, and he has a story that that needs to be heard, that I don't think has ever made quote unquote national headlines. But you know, we're gonna definitely bring it to you here today on the Remix Morning Show. So we're gonna be right back with you, right back at you with Andrew Joseph Jr. Remix Morning Show. Peace, brother Andrew. How you doing?
I'm well, brother. I'm well. And yourself?
I'm good, man. I haven't saw you in a few ticks. Look like you driving, man. You all right?
Yeah, I'm good, brother. I'm emotional. You know what I'm saying? I see your head ain't got real long though. That's a good look for you.
It's been a while. That's how long it's been, huh?
It's been a minute, brother. It's been a minute. But I thank you for the platform and I thank you for the voice.
Absolutely. Hey, I want, for folks who are unfamiliar with Andrew Joseph III, I want to get right into it. Tell us what was the situation, what went down, and then we want to learn a little bit more about his life and some of the things that you all have coming up.
Yeah, no problem, brother. Thank you. And my name is Andrew Joseph Jr. And my son was Andrew Joseph III. He was killed in Tampa, Florida, February 2014. We allowed my 14-year-old son to go to the Florida State Fair. And while he was at the Florida State Fair, he was detained by the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Department. Detained, you know, this is a honor roll kid, a kid that never had discipline problems in his life, a child most parents have prayed for. And this was his first encounter with the police. So here we are, you know, at this Florida State Fair, the gang task force works the Florida State Fair, so he's dealing with the gang task force. And as a 14-year-old child, he was asked to because, you know, they had to check in for gang markings. So the last picture that I have of my 14-year-old son is a mugshot. It's him against the fence with his name and his address and his phone number on it. So you 13 kids that actually went to jail that night and went to the Juvenile Correctional Center. And 99 kids, my child being the 99th child that was simply ejected, meaning we can't allow you to stay here at the fair. We're not arresting you, but we're going to put you in an official police vehicle and basically abandon on the side of the road without calling anybody. So my child was mugshot and placed in the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Department's paddy wagon vehicle and transported within 100 yards of the interstate and basically dropped off without being notified to anybody. My child went back to the gate, into the officer that he had been ejected. He needed to get from one side of the fair to the other side of the fair where his ride was going to be picking him up at. He was told that since he's been ejected, he's not allowed in the fair. He used to walk around 3.5 miles to get to his destination, and at some point he's going to have to bypass the states. So my son was on the directions of the office of the sheriff crossed the interstate to get to his destination. While crossing, he was hit by a 19-year-old John Hatfield, a white boy coming from the fair going to the casino. You know, in my world, coming from the bar to the bar. 19 Jonathan Hatfield wasn't given a breath test. He wasn't given a ticket. He was allowed to leave the scene with my son's remains all over the front grill as if nothing ever happened. Now, this happened February the 7th, 2014, and this coming February, it will be years, brother. 8 years. And fighting this fight, and, you know, let me explain it to you. It's the most difficult thing in the world to have to go to the graveyard to your child. Still waiting on the report. We done took this thing all the way to Supreme Court. We just got a judgment from the Supreme Court on last week that we move forward with this case and we go to trial. But the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Department, as well as the Florida State Fair, has fought this thing with all they for this will never go to trial. And basically, this is where we're at right now. I mean, this is incredible, brother. As far as your emotions concerned, I mean, it's just everybody's not built for this. Everybody's not built for this. This is built for you to lose your mind. This is built for you. It comes with a hospital visit. It's in your pocket. Messes with your relationships, both inner circle and outer circle. Mental health. Everybody's dealing with this situation, whether they want to discuss it or not, has dealt with contemplating suicide. Because once your child is gone, I mean, you know, a lot of what you're living for is gone.
Yeah.
So it's different stages. Yeah, it's different stages that, you know, that comes with this. And what I'm to you is basically stage one. That disbelief that, you know, this can't be happening to me, this can't be my child. And that's anger, you know, where you go from wanting to put the pistol in your mouth to wanting to put the pistol in everybody's mouth, you know, to great depression. I mean, you know, I done lived life, I done been through it. You know, I lost my mama, my daddy, my sisters, and, you know, close friends. But in the world, like losing your child. So it's grave depression that you go through, brother. And, you know, at some point, you try to, you know, we're not responsible. We're not able to control when our loved ones die. So we don't have that kind of control over that. We don't have the control when their bones are disintegrating and their skin's disintegrating in the grave. We don't have that kind of control. The only control that we have over that is that person's name, that person's legacy. And, you know, everybody in the world forgets your name and your picture's no longer circulating and you're no longer a part of the land of the living, then and only then you truly did. But, you know, as long as your name is circulating and somebody's in your name and somebody's looking at your picture, we believe that, you know, you're still here with the living spirits. So, you know.
Hey, brother. You know, the last time I saw you, and it's wild because of the fact that you were in Atlanta. We were on this panel with Jordan Davis's father and Kendrick Johnson's father, right? And yourself. Yeah. That was
early in the game.
That
was stage one, brother.
I remember, and I remember sitting there feeling like I didn't want to be there because of the fact that as a father, seeing three strong men, and I say that not because you're on the piece. We've had brother Kenneth on the show, and we know that Jordan Davis' father is strong as well. But to sit there, because oftentimes we see the mothers on the scene, you know, and we don't see the fathers speaking. But to be there and hear about your son's case in particular, knowing that it hadn't gotten any quote unquote national attention, knowing that the suffering that not only he had to go through, but your family. This was your only child, correct?
That's my only son. I do have a daughter. At the time she was 10, and now she's 18, brother.
Wow.
But that was basically, I'm originally from New Orleans. I'm from the South, so that was my namesake. My father's Andrew Joseph III. I'm Andrew Joseph Jr., and that was our family's name. That was Andrew Joseph III. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And we know it's difficult.
Yeah, I understand, brother. But for every Michael Brown, for every Kendrick Johnson, say one of them is 100 Andrew Joseph III. You know what I mean? That cases that you never heard of, the stories that you never heard of. It's selective. It's selective selections. Who gets the media and who doesn't. You know what I mean? But there's a lot of this going on.
Right on.
And when it first happened to me, I thought I was the only one that was going through it. But when I hit the highways, it's like you brought a new car, and you thought the only one with that car. Hit the highway, you see this car everywhere. And you see this car parked in all kinds of garages. And everybody's going through situations.
But we I know you heard it 1,000 times and from 1,000 different faces in 1,000 different places. But we're with you, Black Power Media, Remix Morning Show, and all the shows on our platform. We're definitely open anytime you have anything going on. I know you have an event coming up. We have 2 guests on here today from our platform, Eric and Amber from Brokish Podcast. They're one of our newer shows on the channel. I don't know if you all have any questions or comments. Feel free. If you'd like to add on.
I just wanted to say, Mr. Joseph, I'm so sorry for what happened to your son. But I just wanted to take this time to bring up how important it is for us as a community to be advocating to end qualified immunity, because no parent should have to spend 8 years fighting to hold the people who caused their son's death accountable. And that is what qualified immunity does. It creates unnecessary barriers like the ones you're talking about, where you have to litigate before you can even litigate. And that's just layered grief on top of grief on top of grief. And so I just wanted to use this moment just as an attorney, as a former prosecutor, just to point out that these are the reasons why we need a federal end to qualified immunity, because they will continue to kill us if they know there is no penalty for it. If our blood means nothing, and money cannot bring a child back, money cannot bring your loved one back, but it sure can make it so that they think twice if a city's going to go bankrupt, or if insurance becomes prohibitively expensive, because now we have to factor these things into the cost of doing business, because Black lives only matter when they're valuable. And so if we can assert our value on the federal level by advocating for an end to qualified immunity, hopefully when things like this happen, we can get quicker accountability and we can get more accountability, so that the next time there is a public event where children are, the gang unit will think twice about rounding our kids up and kicking them out and forcing them to cross the highway, because that is outrageous. That is outrageous.
Absolutely.
Thank you, that's an excellent point. And, as it stands right now, we're trying to make my son the face of qualified immunity. In cyber, he goes by many names, but it basically gives the police immunity to kill us. And we have to pay it as taxpayers to be killed by the police. Now, very quickly, my son had really did something criminal that night. It wouldn't have took 8 years for us to get justice for it. It would have took 8 years to go to court. It would have taken 8 years to get a response, because I'm still waiting on a police report. I mean, no words at all, period, about what happened that night.
Wow.
From these officials. And it's just right behind qualified immunity the whole while. Now, for me or you, we will have to wait for judgment at the end of the case to file an appeal. They get to file an appeal at every step of in the very beginning. During the discovery, they filed the appeal. During the mediation, they filed the appeal. Every judgment that comes down, they appeal it. And they have that ability because of qualified immunity, because of silent immunity. It has to go.
Now, I remember, you had on this panel, it's been a while, so correct me if I'm wrong. I remember you spoke about the identification process. Can you tell us a little something about that? Because I know on the panel you talked about, I think it was a rather odd way that they contacted you or something of that nature. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm
Yeah. I mean, for those that's not really familiar with the story, I would suggest that you go Google Andrew Joseph III, that was killed at the Florida State Fair, and you can get the story in total. But as we was, my son went to the fair with Miss Munn, who's the next door neighbor, and this is a fair that has been taking place for over 100 years. And, here locally in the Tampa area. Started with slaves at the fair, and then slaves being sold at the fair in the early 1900s, and it went up. It went to segregation where the black wasn't allowed to go to the fair with the folks. So the black folks had their own particular day to go to the fair, which was named as Negro Day. That was the day that all the black folks could go to the fair for free. And from Negro Day to Midnight Madness, which was another total catastrophe, to where they were when my son died, Student Day. But the population, as well as the policy procedures, was still the same from Negro Day. Because, during Student Days was when all kids could come to the fair for free because they was getting free tickets from the school board. So, the population is still the same when every urban area is in there because they get to go to the fair for free. If you can place my son, what I consider to be a perfect child, in an official police car and drive him around the block times and drop him off in modern day lynching, has nothing changed but the name. So, originally we were from New Orleans, so I wasn't really familiar with this fair. I went online, my parents would do, and everybody was eating cotton candy and licking at candy apples. And it was a school-sponsored event. So in my small mind, this was going to be the day of all. In reality, it was more like a hip-hop, rock type of concert atmosphere out at the fair. When it first happened, they introduced my son as a gang member that was wilding at the fair. And I had no idea I know he wasn't no gang member. We stay in a gated community. And I didn't know what wilding was. I thought it was a young term. The kids didn't know what it was. I thought it was a local term, so I asked the old heads here in Tampa. They didn't know what it was. So it finally came out that it was a term that was pulled from up north, running around and misbehaving, which has nothing to do with this case. It has nothing at all to do, but this is the label that they gave him. We allowed my son to go to with Miss Munn, the next people, and her young child, he was 14. They went to the fair, and Miss Munn called and asked me, has I talked to Andrew Joseph III? We call him Pee-wee, I'm sorry. Have I talked to Pee-wee? And I said, no, he was supposed to be there. I thought everything was focused, what's going on. Well, I'm here to pick the kids up, and nobody has seen him for hours, and he's not where he's supposed to be. So now I'm calling his phone, and the phone is ringing 5 or 6 going to the answering machine. So I know the phone is on. He's just not picking up for whatever reason. So Ms. Munn calls back and says they completely closed the fair down. They're turning off the lights. Everybody's out, and she can't find Pee-wee anywhere. What do I want to do? So I told him just to come on back to the neighborhood, and I'm gonna get in the car and I'm gonna come out there and I'll find him. He's probably just trying to buy some more time. Figured he got his teammates or his little girlfriend or whatever, and he's trying to buy some time in my mind. So I get in the car and I go to the spot where he's supposed to be picked up at, and the the guy's locking the gate. The guy that works at the fair is locking the gate. I'm explaining to him I'm supposed to pick my son up here, and he's not here. Can you help me? He said there's about 30 or 40 kids on the other side of the fair, 3.5 miles around. I need to go around there, and my son's around there. There's about 30 or 40 kids waiting on their parents on that side. So I go from the side where he's supposed to be picked on one side to the other side, the street side, and there's 30 or 40 kids out there. My eyeball is each one of these kids. None of these kids are mine. So there's two policemen there, the sheriff talking to people, and you know how they pull close to each other and talk to each other through the window inside their cars. This is how they're speaking to each other. So as I approached him, I explained to him, you know, from my son, he's supposed to be on the other side. He's there. I looked at all the kids out here. None of these kids are there. Can you help me? And he asked me for his picture and went to run his name. I'm talking to the sheriff at this point. He ran his name at the hospital and took his picture and was looking through the juvenile correctional center. The trooper explained to me that he's working on debt reports. Top of the interstate, you know. And my son's at the fair, and he don't drive, and he wasn't with nobody. So the riders telling me that she came up, so you know, I'm gonna talk to the state trooper, work with the sheriff, but so they asking me more intimate questions. He asked me for a picture. He asked me what my son had on, and he asked me to call my son. So I called him, and just like the other times, it's ringing 4 or 5 times and it's going through the answering machine. Then he gets out of the car, because he's still sitting with each other at this point. He gets out of his car and he puts his hand on my shoulder. He looks at me in the eye. He's a white guy, got a military haircut, green looking eyes. He tells me the phone that I'm calling is ringing in the body they have down at the mall. But, you know, I don't want you to panic. But the guy down at the mall had something funny around his waist. Can you tell me what your son had around his waist? So now, you know, I do it. You know, I don't know what's going on. So I can't even remember what kind of belt the boy had on. You know what I'm saying? So like a brick wall fell on me at that point. So called my wife at the house and explained to her, you know, we still hadn't found Pee-wee, but, you know, we are dealing with a life of type situation. I need to know what belt he left the house with. And she gets to screaming and howling on the phone. I can't understand what she's saying. I guess reality's kicking in for her. She tells me that my son didn't leave the house with a belt. He took I have a silk like Gucci body scarf that I display stuff on, and he took the body scarf and tied it around his waist. He left the house with the scarf around his waist. Now, you know, state troopers asking me what she said, and I finally explained to him that my wife said he left with a black, red, and green Gucci scarf around his waist. And at that point, he was telling me because he has the codes that you described, because the phone is ringing in his pocket, because the guy down at the mall definitely a scarf tied around his waist. He informed me that was your son that was killed on the interstate tonight. You stand right here. In about 15 or 20 minutes, the state trooper's gonna come off the scene, bring you his personal belongings. So at that point, the guy that I had talked to on the other side of the fair had walked over and heard the state trooper give me the news. He said, "Brother, can I pray?" I said, "Please pray for me." And we all joined hands, everybody, all the police, everybody that was out there. We all joined hands and brother prayed. And brother prayed for about 15 or 20 minutes. A lot of things that he said actually came to fruition. But as he was saying his amens, the state trooper was pulling in with his lights on. He got out of the car and he asked me for my license. I gave him my since he went back in his car. He came back out, gave me my license back, and in his hand he had a big old gallon sandwich bag. And in the sandwich bag they had my son's wallet, all those little wristbands he had around his wrists, and his telephone, which was cracked in like 1,000 pieces of it. And able to identify each of those items, and after all that, brother, they wouldn't let me leave. They said we just gave you this, we gave you this heavy news. We can't allow you to go drive home. And we went back and forth for about another 15, 20 minutes about me being a grown man and me being able to drive home. And I finally convinced I was able to drive home, that I was get on the interstate, that I was going to stay on the street, and it was about a 20, 30-minute drive home, and I'd be okay. So they let me leave. I know I went directly to the gas station, but as I was pulling out, the flashing lights behind me again. So I pulled to the gas station. They gave me my license back. You can't be that. They won't. But, I pulled over in the gas station, and he gets out of the car and puts his shoulder on my hand, puts his hand on my shoulder again. Sure, you're going to be all right. Like, yeah, I'm going to be fine, I guarantee you. And I made it home. And I went through all that, and I'm thinking they really was concerned about me making it home. But when it all, when it came down to the come down, they made a statement on TV that my son was paying because the father said that he was in the game, because he said he had a rag around his waist. And
wow.
That's what I said. Yeah. The father
they flipped
said
it on
he was
you.
in the game.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And he was I thought he was trying to give a positive identification. He was trying to complete his report. That was his concern, to complete his report. And when I gave him that statement, that's all he had to hear. It was official from that point. So my son got the gang label on the very first 24 hours. And as I mentor these parents, as I'm going through now, is you have to have advocacy. You have to have somebody on the ground for you fighting in those first 72 hours. It's going to make the rest of the case for the rest of your life, those first 42 hours, because the law enforcement is getting their story. They're not necessarily gathering information about what happened. They're information about their narrative that's going to complete their story. So you have to be having somebody on the ground, advocacy work, talking to the witness, taking pictures, that's taking statements, that's doing the work that needs to be done. Because if not, you're not going to get your voice for another 6 months, maybe 8 months, sometimes as long as 2 years. You know what happens in 2 years? Your voice, then the statute of limitations is over. You know what I'm saying? So all these things that's being done by design, it don't matter what category you think about, economics, health, law, whatever you think about, black people are last by design. Last place by design, no matter what you think about it.
And I'm trying to figure out whether he was in a gang or not is even relevant to the analysis, because if your son was in a gang and you let him out and allowed him to run across the highway, I guarantee you would have been arrested. So even if he was in a gang, there are processes and procedures in place in this country for detaining minors. And what should have happened is he should have been detained, and his guardian or parents should have been notified that he was suspected of gang activity. I mean, what is crazy to me is that we think that even a child who is in a gang should be allowed to run across the interstate. Like, that has absolutely nothing to do with the relevant analysis of the fact that there are processes in place for detaining minors, and this was just blatantly not followed. Whether he was in a gang or not, when you detain a minor, you don't instruct them to run across the highway, because if any parent or any other adult would have done that, they would have absolutely been charged with breaking 5011 laws. So it's just crazy to me that we can get stuck on something that matters zero in the analysis of whether this baby should still be alive or not. Because if you thought that, process him, detain him, and contact his parents so they can retain an attorney and fight the issue and litigate the issue in court about whether he should or should not have been detained at the fair and asked to leave. But the fact that we are using whether he was in a gang or not to justify instructing a child to run across a highway is ridiculous and absolutely irrelevant to the legal analysis. Absolutely irrelevant.
And I think about the. Sorry, I was just going to say, and Mr. Joseph, of course, my heart breaks for you and your family. And I'm glad that you have a community that's been helping you through these past 8 years. But I'm just thinking about the fact that, like, here in Dallas, we have a state fair and they give all the kids tickets to the state fair and the kids go on a certain day. It's almost like they were, trying to entrap them, right? So on the day that you invite the children is the day that you say, let's bring out the gang unit because we think all the kids are going to be here. So it's like the kids are doing what you asked them to do. You've said you've made a space for them. And then they go and to this space that you said you set aside for them. And then this is what happens. And it's like the state is just always doing something insidious, right? Like, and just coming together and sorry.
Yeah.
It's fine, sister. Let me just wrap up. And just say, you're right, sisters. Both of you are absolutely correct. Because I like to say, I don't care if I was Satan himself, if I was the devil himself, and mine was Satan's son, he deserved to die like that.
That's right.
Regardless to whether he was in a gang, or he was an honor roll student, or he was black, or he was white, it was a child. 14-year-old child who laid on the interstate for another 30 minutes, and they refused to touch him because they had labeled him a gang member. So he bled out, and they refused to treat him, and he bled out.
Listen up. No, go ahead. I mean, finish. I'm sorry. It's just it's such an infuriating case, man. It's like,
yeah, I mean, and it's a lot. It's a lot. Most people don't want to deal with it because once you hear the story, you can't unhear it.
That's right. That's right.
So it's part of your spirit forever. So a lot of people don't want to deal with it at all. And there's a lot of people that's the department as well as the school board, as well as the state fair authority, and this is like the fair in Dallas. If I have permit to carry a weapon, a George Zimmerman permit to carry a weapon, and I show this permit at the front gate at the Florida State Fair, at the front gate at the Dallas Fair, I'm allowed to come in that fair with my gun. So now you have guns and alcohol inside the fair on student day. You can't put guns, alcohol, and children in the same environment and feed it to the community as if it's safe. These free tickets that we get down here, they're basically strong-arming us to participate in this fair because the whole complete school system is shut down. It's closed. And they get free tickets, and you almost a bad if you're not allowing your child to participate. Because Daddy, I got the whole day off for school. I got a free ticket. Everybody in the neighborhood is going. Why I can't go?
Right.
I'm sorry, brother, but society showed us that you can't even go to Chuck E. Cheese without it. You can't get a cookie from the grocery store without your parent being present. And we're being strong on to participate in these state fairs, and mainly our parents, because most parents, get off of work 3, 5 in the afternoon. These children are able to go to the fairs early as 8 o'clock in the morning when it opens.
Right. You have an event coming up. Can you give us some let us know about that so that the folks in your area that's checking it out can support what you're doing?
Again, we have opened up a foundation in my son's name, the Andrew Joseph Foundation, AJF, located here in Tampa. Every year we have a celebration in his honor. This year is very big because we expect him to go to court. We have just got the notification from the Supreme Court that we can move forward. So we are anticipating on going to court within the next 6 months. So we're affiliated with all these families that's been going through this for years. So we'll have everybody here, the Michael Browns, I chapter of the Black Lives Matter grassroots in D.C. concerning the cyber immunity, the qualified immunity in my son's name. But this weekend it's going to be February 10th, 11th, and the 12th, 13th. That's that Super Bowl. We'll be at the fairground promoting safety at the fairground, starting at 5 o'clock here in Tampa. That Saturday morning, 11th, we have work for the children to know their rights, protecting our kids. We're going to teach all the kids in the neighborhood their rights, a bunch of things like that. We're going to also, that night, going to have a gala, and I will send you all the information for the viewers as well as we wrapping up. And on that Sunday, we'll be the Super Bowl Sunday will be freedom breakfast, the protect the children breakfast on that Sunday the 13th. And we probably watch together on Sunday afternoon. It's going to be my son's anniversary is February the 7th, which is on that week. So we're gonna celebrate his life in the spirit on 10th, 11th, 13th.
Right on. We're gonna make we'll definitely be promoting it here, Black Power Media and the Remix Morning Show. I'm gonna make an effort to come down and support you all as well. You know, so
we appreciate that a great deal, brother. And those that can't make it there physically, we will be doing a Zoom thing, so we're able to practice that way as well. Yeah, so we expect a big year this year, brother. We really want to see some justice for us, but not only for us, but because we're tied up with the fabric of America. And we're really trying to change some things so there won't be another set of parents that have to go through this. Like I said in the very beginning, this is not made for everybody. This is not made for everybody. I wouldn't wish this on this nightmare on my worst enemy. Because this is something serious. Humans are not built to bear.
Right on. Well, you stay strong. Give the love to the family. Thank your wife for setting up the interview as well. And we'll have you back on soon, and we will keep our audience posted on what's happening. And there will be justice for him. Stay the course. You know what I'm saying? It might take longer than we would like it to take, but these demons ain't getting away with nothing. You understand what I'm saying? So always know that, brother. We love and support you, and we appreciate what it is you bring to the table. Stay on point.
Thank you, brother. Thank you for your ears. Thank you for your hearts. Keep on pushing them.
Right on, brother. Stay strong.
You had 1,000 tons that get up. With this one, thank you all.
That's right, brother. We appreciate you. You're checking out the Remix Morning Show. Hey, Erica, Amber, I know y'all. I just thrust y'all into the program. You like, look, we supposed to be doing the interview. We end up doing the interview. We had to test the waters today. We had to make sure that y'all really who y'all say y'all was from Dallas to BPM. Definitely support you all and appreciate you all for supporting the work we're doing. And thank you all for the for backing me up on this joint right here. You know what I'm saying? Everybody else ran, they scattered. They like, but definitely appreciate y'all. And we definitely appreciate the Joseph family and the work that they're continuing to do to assist other people as well.
Yeah. Thank you for having us. This was fun.
Right on, right
on. Thank you.
Okay.
And thank you for doing this work, because that's heavy.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, that's our job, right? We all have a role to play, right? Every last one of us. We appreciate you all. We love the show. Y'all make sure y'all check out Broke-ish Podcast on Black Power Media. As you can see, they thugged out. They just look like they're not. Don't get it twisted. They come in the game, they're throwing W's up, flashing gang signs. Look, we ain't got time for all that on here. This is a wholesome show. But anyway, we appreciate y'all, man. And look forward to bringing y'all back on, all right?
All right.
And feel free to join us on some of this co-hosting too. We got work to do. We'll be talking about my forehead too big. My aunt got my babysitter tied up. We ain't got time for all that. It's Remix Morning Show. That's what we do around here. All right.
We can work it out.
Cool. That's what's
all
up.
right.
That's what's up. Y'all be safe.
All righty. Bye-bye.
No doubt.
Bye.
Peace. It's that time again, y'all. We got to go. Remix Morning Show. We appreciate y'all. Look like everybody dipped out on me. You know what I'm saying? But it's cool. You know what I mean? We will see y'all tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. Make sure, and that's Eastern, EST, of course. Make sure you all continue to check out the platform. If it's your first time coming on, make sure that you subscribe to Black Power Media. Hit the like button. For some reason, you know, these algorithms and whatever else they're doing, they're trying to suppress this work that we got over here. So we need you all to be our marketing promotion team. So make sure y'all stay on point and keep us moving with that. We appreciate y'all. Welcome to Black Power Media, and we out. Be safe.